is time for the next fun part of the build, and that is exhaust. So this is always a fun and challenging part of every build. We need it to be functional and aesthetically pleasing, and we want it to be quality, we want it to last forever. We also want it to fit well and be easy to install and remove. So we always have a few challenges up against us when we're doing exhaust. So as usual, I have sourced all of my stuff through Cone Engineering. I mentioned them a lot. Link above to the GL650 first ride video. You get to, well, first start and first ride video. You get to hear what the Cone Engineering muffler sounded like on that thing, and it is incredible. So let's talk about this exhaust though. This bike, the purpose is a Scrambler slash ADV dual sport bike, and we do plan to have like some racks on the back of this thing. It needs to carry gear, and it needs to be something that's going to be durable in the event of a crash. So we're not spending $1 million on this bike, and that's totally cool with me. I like to try to make stuff work. So what we're doing, we're using the factory primary headers here, and these have an outer diameter here of like just under like 1 5/8, and on the inside here it's a little bit smaller than 1 1/2. So what I've got coming off of these is a 1 5/8 or 1/625 piece of stainless. Now this is actually going to be a slip fit on top of the factory primary here, okay? And that's going to be what I adapt down to 1 1/2 inch pipe here. So we're going to weld this. We're going to weld the seam on this side, and then this is going to be a slip fit onto the stock primary, and I'll do some relief cuts and have a clamp here. And the idea is going to be to do a crossover from the left side of the bike, run under the engine, and then we have a merge here. So this merge, again, Cone Engineering, 2-in-1. This is a twin 1 1/2 inch inlet, and then a 1/625 or 1 5/8 inch outlet. And we're going to put that about right there, okay? Should be a decent spot for it, and that'll allow an area under the bike so we can kind of curve the pipe and then back into the other side. I don't want to have any like super hard bends or anything like that. And then from there, going back to our 1 5/8 inch pipe, and that'll run up into our muffler. So this muffler is slightly different than the last one you saw. This one actually you cannot see through. This is what they call their quieter core. So I haven't used one of these, but I'm pretty excited, and it is physically longer. Let me grab a tape measure real quick. Alright, where are we at with this thing? So this muffler, exactly 18 inches overall length. We're going to run this one kind of in an upswept fashion, just like we've been doing. Always like this style. This thing's going to hang out about right here. So pretty straightforward, again, 2-in-1, and then we're going to bring the pipe up straight into that. I already have a hanger set up for this thing. I just need to fabricate the mounts to the bike, but this position here, I don't really want to go any further forward because, again, we're going to have racks right here. So you can imagine a pannier rack with like maybe some stuff covering it here. I want to make sure we get this exhaust gas out from under those bags, and we're not sitting there just building a bunch of heat unnecessarily under the bike. So I know some of you are probably going to chime in saying, oh, it needs to be shorter or this and that, but you know, I got to think, I've got to try to make like 20 different pieces of the puzzle fit together here, so we got to make compromises. But yeah, I think once we get this all done and I start building the racks, I can do like some heat shielding and stuff like that, and that'll look really good and also add that functionality to it. So anyway, again, this is stainless, and this is absolutely something you could duplicate with mild steel. They offer that as well, so you can get all these bends, the exact same dimensions, just you can also get it in mild steel, but I chose to do it in stainless. Just kind of that cool factor. So we're not going to be doing a super crazy like pie cut exhaust or turbo manifold or anything like that, but I do want it to look good and I want it to last, and I don't want to wrap pipes, I don't want to paint anything or have anything ceramic coated. So even though we're spending a little bit more up front for stainless and it's going to take more time and more energy to weld it, I believe it's still going to save time in the end, and still it's just going to be a better result. So anyway, I'm probably going to get started with pulling these primaries off, shortening this lip just a little bit. It's kind of excessive right now, and we'll get jamming on this thing. All right, first up, I just want to trim a little bit off of this pipe here, but this will just be so you don't have to try to slide so much pipe onto the thing all at once, because it will be a little bit tough once you go to put the system on the bike. So I'm going to try to help that out as much as I can here. So what do you say we do 1.25 inches? Yeah, we got to take off a full inch. It doesn't have to be super precise, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. I know this is probably completely unnecessary, but this is kind of my style to overdo everything. All right, now I'm gonna go take the little mini flap disc here and then just clean it up, blend it a little bit more, and we'll be good to go. All right, so just finished one side here. You can see the difference. What I ended up doing was putting this in the vise, and then I took my chisel and just kind of like hammered the pipe out to kind of expand it, mushroom it out into the OD here. And then actually I was able to clean it up enough to where I could use the TIG and just run around it. And then from there, I just use like my rotary bits to kind of like just blend it a little bit more and then sand it down. So it is ready to go now. This is gonna go back on the bike, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one. All right, we got two of these things done. They're looking really good. Still have that slip fit. Pretty decent. All right, pipe's going back on the bike, and then we will start working on doing the turns and stuff like that. Okay, so next up we're gonna go ahead and cut the slip fit sections. And for this, I'm gonna cut them at 2 inches long. And then that'll just give me a nice little joint at the end of that to weld around, and we will be on our way. Cruising right along here. We got the slip fit pieces on, and we're gonna keep this one pretty simple in shape on this side. We're just gonna go with a 90-degree bend here, and the pipe itself is actually angled a little bit in, so this goes a little bit over 90, which is fine because that'll give us a little bit more room on the other side to reverse bend it. So anyway, I'll just have to trim this side. That fits in there. Swing it up. It should fit really nice. So we'll pull this thing forward so curves about right there. That'll give us the most space vertically. So we'll just go ahead and chop a few inches out of it. All right, just took a couple inches off this thing. Fits well. But yeah, plenty of room here. Stock shifter will have no issue. And yeah, so as of now, I can actually kind of go ahead and start doing the other side. So to make sure that I have this pipe level, I went ahead and put a strap on the bike and then leveled the bike via the engine here. So that thing sits level, just use your imagination. And then squaring the pipe to that, gave me my marks here. So I'm gonna pull this off real quick, just quickly tack that. That'll keep this in line because I like the fitment here. And then from there, we'll move to the other side. All right, as of now, I'm on this side. I went ahead and flipped the bike around in the garage because it's gonna make welder access quite a bit easier. So anyway, we got we have this section, fit perfect there. And then this is just a scrap piece we cut off our first one. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that here. So that'll be our extension there. And then I'm thinking right here I'll end up doing a pie cut because our merge is probably going to be at like this type of angle. So that'll just help get me right in the ballpark we need. So no sense in cutting a new piece. We'll just tack this on and we'll be good to go there. Just took a leg off of the U-bend here and start trimming it back. Get it kind of fitting up into here. Slowly but surely. The subterranean cam. So kind of show you the thought process here. So obviously we have our merge. I'd like it to be about right here, okay? So we're not in reality, we're not too far off. We got to think of how we want to do this. So I have a slight straight section on this end and a direct bend, like we're in the middle of the bend here, and it's not squared off the pipe, but it's close. So I can either do it like this, which kind of gives me a little bit, you know, both give me a little bit too much radius. And instead, you know, I've already cut a little bit off of this one, a few inches, but I want to cut this piece first. I want to keep trimming this back slowly, and then we should be able to get this right where we want it. I'm probably going to end up using the straight edge in here to help push the merge back, because going like that, it is not bad. So trimming this side back will allow me to angle the merge in. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, but angle the merge in like that, making this a little bit more direct. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of eyeball it. We're gonna do like, you know, 6 or 7 cuts probably, so I'm not gonna show that, but we're gonna figure it out. I know it's gonna be a little hard to see, but I've got this piece trimmed back a little bit, and then I went ahead and trimmed that one back probably another 3/8 of an inch. And I think I got this. Let me move my hands here so you guys can see, hopefully. I think I got it in the ballpark. And then the collector can move around on this piece, so it's not as crucial, but I think I have my lengths right. And it looks like my right side primary is going to line up really well with the merge. So as of now, I'm going to go ahead and clean this piece up along with the crossover. Try to tack those in place, and then we'll start working on the merge. Soft on it. Fun stuff. know if you can see the little flat spot I put in that. Just kind of flatten the inside. That way when it meets the other pipe, I did the same to the curve. They just fit a little bit tighter. Obviously you guys are not going to be able to see this, but put a tack where the pipes meet. Alright now, so I went ahead and just worked on blending that a little bit. Obviously I tried to lay a bead in here, and just working on blending it a little bit more before I throw the merge on. I know it's a little hard to see. And yeah, when I go to fully weld this thing, I will back purge it. I don't have enough money in my bank account to back purge my tacks. Just trying to fill in as much of this space as I can before the merge goes on, because I'll never be able to reach in here. So anyway, gonna toss the merge on and tack it in place. Alright, now that we have the merge here, next up, need to connect it to the muffler section. So the muffler is loosely where I want it. I want it in this approximate spot. I do have a bracket that I'm going to weld to the muffler here, and then that'll tie into possibly like a point up here or something. We'll make a bracket for that, but I need to get this section in the ballpark first. So I have two 45s, and I'm just kind of winging this as I go, but what I'm thinking, I'll cut basically right at the bend. I'm going to start necking it out like a 45, maybe coming this way, and then hopefully we'll do like another 45 that kind of puts it up into this section here. So, and this will move around, but I need to at least start to get some pieces cut and see which way I need to bend it here. My goal is always to have, pretty much just kind of like the most minimal. Whoa! Ground clamp just flew off out of nowhere. My goal is always to have kind of like the most minimal amount of bends here, just for clean lines. And I don't want to like, I want to try to utilize this frame line here and make this as attractive as I can. So anyway, I'm gonna go take this to the bandsaw. We'll get cut. Okay, using a highly engineered system of zip ties, we got the muffler kind of hung up here. And this pipe, it's kind of hanging right now, but this pipe is parallel with this tube right here. So now we have to work on getting this fitted. So there's a 45 right there. So we're gonna have to kind of kick this out in two different directions here. So one going that way and one probably going this way. We'll figure it out. Alright, so I just took a little bit of material off the back of this pipe, and then this section is just cut right at the end of the 45. So clocking it that way, kind of mocking up our other 45 in here. It's not too far off, but instead of taking length off the back side, I'm going to take a little bit of radius off this side and cut it back to, I don't know what angle, but we're just gonna kind of trim a little bit off until I think I can get this to fit. And this is left pretty much exactly at the 45. Cut it right at the end of the bends, or beginning of the bends, I guess you could say. And I think we should be really close. So might end up still being long on this side, but I can't really add it back in a clean manner. So I want to try to trim back the radius here and just make a nice gradual bend. So close. So just need to keep trimming. I've just been doing like potato chip slices of cutting the radius back out of this, and I'm very close right now. I think maybe 1-2 more cuts and we'll be good. Alright, so we're really close on this. I think I've got it dialed. So I was going to try to use this single piece. Made some adjustments, and this is just one of my cutoffs. So a little bit of extra clocking. I think
I've got it just right. Wasn't quite able to make it with 2 single angles, so this section here adds a 3rd angle to it, you know, in whatever way it wants to fit. But I think this is going to be absolutely close enough to get tacked up. So as of now, I'm going to go, this side's cleaned up, but I'm going to clean these pieces and then start tacking.
Alright, so I've got 1 tack on here. I went ahead and pulled the zip ties off, and I just need to work on getting a couple tacks, hopefully 3 tacks in here. And this thing will be held pretty stable. And at that point, this will be kind of relatively locked in place. So obviously it's always going to be moving whenever I fully weld this thing. But the mount I'm going to make for the rear is going to have some adjustability built into it. So hopefully I can get this tacked up, and then we can work on at least placing our rear hanger, and then from there, this can eventually, you know, on teardown, we can pull this back off, fully weld it, and get everything set up. So almost done with mock-up, which is freaking awesome. This is probably a really long video at this point, but I feel like I can knock this out in at least 1 longer episode. So bear with me, everybody. While I look for my glove. Okay, next up I need to work on a muffler hanger for this thing. And what I'm going to do is tie in this point here, which already has a threaded hole in the frame. And then just basically we're going to go straight down into this bracket, and then this is going to be tacked onto the muffler here. See, not too far of a distance there. Almost directly over each other. So for now, I'm going to use some precision engineered zip ties, hold this to the pipe, and get it tacked in place. Quite see what I need to right here. Pull this fender off real quick. Alright, let's try these bottom 2 again now that I can see. TIG welding is definitely a lesson in patience. Ooh. Much better. Alright guys, show you what I'm doing here. So I've made 2 counterbore sections, and this is just to use an Allen head bolt out of some round stock. So we have one up here, one that's going to be down here, and then to join those 2 pieces I'm just going to weld a piece of round bar between them, and it should be a nice attractive piece. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing mounted up and then start cutting some round bar, and be right back. Alright, simple enough, just a nice little tube. And it's in here like so, centered. I'm going to go ahead and just tack this in, and then the exhaust will be hung on its own. We can remove the zip ties. So I know this pipe looks really long and it's kind of sticking out right now, but Trust me, I'm gonna make this work with probably different bags and different lines on the bike. It will make sense. So again, this is kind of a compromise to fit the bike, look good without bags, and then also, you know, we got to make it work with bags. So that's why the length is what it is, and it's the quieter core. So hopefully this thing is going to be a lot more muffled than the open short pipe that Cone sells. So not going to be annoying on the trail. But yeah, got a few things to work around, and that's what we got to do, making this work. I know I've seen, you know, there's plenty of people that run the exhaust in through there and whatever. Like, it's just not really my style. So I really like doing it like this, and we're gonna make this awesome. So yeah, we will come back in another episode to full welding whenever we're further along with the bike. But hopefully you guys like this. I'll link all the products below. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions.